So today, I'm gonna teach you how to EQ them vocals the easy way, the simple way, and you'll have them things sounding like butter. Let's dive into it. Let's go. So let's go ahead and dive into point number one, which is listen and how to listen effectively. One of the common things that I did very early on is I remember I would watch different YouTube videos, or I would find different articles of different engineers that would do certain things to their vocal, and I would just copy the settings and think we're golden, and I can never get my vocal right. And the reason why is whenever you just kind of copy settings like that and you don't really effectively listen, is like hopping in the car knowing that you got to go somewhere new, but you don't put your destination in your GPS. Whenever you actually listen, is like you put in your destination, so every movement forward, you're getting closer to your final destination of where you're trying to go. One of the first things that I'm obviously listening for is what is harsh and what sticks out. Another thing that I listen for is what maybe doesn't cut through enough, especially if you're working with hip hop, R&B, and pop. You may be recording, maybe even mixing to a lot of 2-track instrumentals. I know that I do. And whenever you're listening back, I'm kind of listening for what is kind of getting in the way with the beat. And sometimes you may have to make some adjustments to your vocals for that vocal to cut through. The last thing that I'm listening for is what's something that I need to boost. And that's kind of the exact order that I'm listening for as I'm playing the track through. Let's play it and see what we got. Let's go.
Me and my brother been trying to get out the snows again. Told him I got him if I had it on me. Me and my brother don't fight over. It's too many. Walking around with so many diseases.
And here in a second, we're going to go through me actually EQing this vocal live, so you can kind of see my mindset on how I would EQ this specific vocal. But before we do that, we're going to go through very, very briefly some quick compression. This video, we're obviously not going to talk about, attack and release. This is a video on EQ. We may could do a video on compression. If that's something that you need, drop a comment down below. But for the sake of this video, we're talking about EQing your vocals. I would just copy all of these settings. The only thing that we're going to adjust is going to be our threshold. If you got to pause the video, go ahead and pause the video. Copy these settings. These are very common settings that you're going to be able to adjust pretty much on every compressor. If you got another compressor, go ahead and do that. But what my recommendation is on this specific part of the training is I would recommend hitting anywhere from about 4 to 6 dB of compression. We've already got all of our settings here set up, and the only thing that we're going to adjust here is we're going to adjust this threshold to attempt to hit the negative 6 dB of compression or gain reduction. So let's go ahead and play it and dial those settings in. Cool, so now that we've got it dialed in to where we're hitting about negative 6 dB of compression, if you listen close, you're going to be able to hear it, but really what it's going to do is just really going to help us speed up our EQ whenever we start EQing our vocal, which is exactly what we're going to do next. So that leads us right into step number 3, where we actually start to EQ our vocals. And that concept is subtraction is greater than addition whenever it comes to EQing your vocals. The key to getting a great rich, full, industry-sounding vocal, a lot of times that's going to come through effective subtractive EQ. So the first thing that I'm going to do on 100% of my vocals, if you got any experience with EQ and vocals, you want to add your high-pass filter just to kind of take out some of that room noise. You just don't need it. So normally what I like to do here, I will be anywhere from about 70, and man, even sometimes I'll go up to about 95. It's very rare that I go up to 100. My sweet spot is always going to be, let's just go 80 here. We'll see if it works with this vocal. If not, we'll dial it back. And then another little hack that I like to do is some kind of low shelf. You want to select the shelf setting, which is going to be right here. Some people like to roll, way up here, but for me, that just kind of loses the life of the vocal. I like to keep that stuff in there. But what I'm going to do to kind of tame some of these frequencies is I'm going to pull the shelf up to probably about 500. That's normally my sweet spot whenever I'm just kind of cleaning up some of this stuff. So let's play before.
Me and my brother been trying to get out the snows again. Told him I got him if I had it on me. Me and my brother don't fight over. It's too many. Walking around with so many diseases. Me and my brother been trying to get out the snows again. Told him I got him if I had it on me. Me and my brother don't fight over.
It's not doing a whole lot, but it is doing what it needs to do to make that vocal cut through that beat a little bit better. So the next thing that I'm going to do is, this is a true hack, tip, trick, whatever you want to call it. The boost, then cut. method. So I'm hearing some stuff probably in this range. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to make a very narrow band. You wanna make it super narrow for what we're about to do. We're going to basically boost a lot. And the reason why we're gonna do this is we're gonna exaggerate these frequencies so that we can better hear the frequencies so that we know exactly what we're gonna be cutting. So we're gonna boost and then we're gonna scan. And whenever we find that frequency, it's gonna be super piercing to our ears.
Ow, Charlie!
And that's how we're gonna know that's the frequency that we need to cut. So the boost then cut method is what I'm gonna do real fast. And then whenever I get done with it, we'll come back and kind of talk through it. Cool, so this is what we came up with. All I did is I did exactly what we kind of talked through, the boost and then cut method for all of these frequencies. So what I'm gonna do real quick, I'm gonna play what we had before, and then as we're playing it, I'm gonna take this bypass off so that you can actually hear exactly what this EQ just did. So let's play it.
Me and my brother been trying to get out the snores again. Yeah. Told him I got him if I had it on me. Me and my brother been trying to get out the snores again. Yeah. Told him I got him if I had it on me. Me and my brother been trying to get out the snores.
So real quick, I'll kind of boost and kind of show you the frequencies that we ended up taking away here. We will go from the bottom to the top. We've obviously got, looks like it's about 190 hertz.
Me and my brother been trying to get out the snores again. Yeah. Told him I got him if I had it on me. Me and my brother been trying to get out the snores again. Yeah.
That's clearly piercing my ears. The other one that we hit was about 2K. Let's boost it.
Me and my brother been trying to get out the snores again. Yeah. Told him I got him if I had it on me.
Yeah, we got to get that thing gone.
Me and my brother been trying to get out the snores again. Yeah. Told him I got him if I.
And by you applying this boost and cut method and making sure that your bands are narrow and then just gradually adding it back in there until it sounds natural. A lot of times people may cut too much or that band's a little bit too wide. Then what ends up happening is the vocal starts to lose its life. And then let's see what we got. It looks like we had to cut a little bit at 3K.
Me and my brother been trying to get out the snores again.
Yeah, we got to turn that thing down right now. That is my methods on how I utilize subtractive EQ, and in my honest opinion, the most important part of EQing, period, to get those radio-ready vocals. I don't want to be anti add an EQ. You know, I definitely add some EQ from time to time. I honestly add EQ about every mix, but not until I've effectively done my subtractive EQ, which leads us into point number 4, which is adding that sizzle, you know, adding a little bit of flavor on the top. But the first thing that I'm hearing, the thing that I think that we could definitely add to make it kind of fit in the record a little bit better is adding a little bit of high end. So let's go ahead and add that. I'm going to boost it to where it sounds good, to where it feels good, and then I'm going to leave it.
Me and my brother been trying to get out the snores again. Yeah. Told him I got him if I had it on me.
And honestly, that 1 dB is kind of just adding a little bit. It's kind of helping that vocal cut through. Utilize these techniques, but apply it to your specific setup. If you've got a mic that's a little bit more dull, you may need to add a little bit more up here. You know, just kind of make sure that it feels right within your beat. And then the last thing that I hear, I think we could maybe add about 80 hertz. So if you want to add just kind of a little bit of beef to your vocal,
spicy meat. Yeah, boy.
this 80 hertz kind of does it for me. We might add it, we might not.
Me and my brother been trying to get out the snores again. Yeah. Told him I got him if I had it on me.
Real quick tip. So whenever I boost, I normally boost wide, my band being a little bit more wide. And then whenever I cut, I like the band to be narrow. Now that we've listened, now that we have compressed our vocal, now that we've done our subtractive EQ, now that we've added a little bit of sizzle, let's go ahead and bypass these plugins to see exactly what we have accomplished within this video.
Yeah. Told him I got him if I had it on me. Yeah. Me and my brother don't fight over. It's too many. Walking around with so many decisions.
And that makes a big difference and really sets you up to kind of start adding that sauce, you know, whether it be reverb, echoes, whatever the case may be. So now that leads us right into the last point of the video, which is my vocal focus frequencies. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of give you the most common frequencies that I end up having to boost or cut in most of my vocals. Don't listen to this and say, oh, these are the only frequencies that I can cut, because that's not the case. But if you listen to it and say, hey, this is probably where most of the problems are going to be coming from, it's really going to streamline your learning, and you're going to be able to EQ your vocals a little bit faster. Let's break it down like this. So let's say your vocal is too bright or too airy. The frequency range is going to be anywhere from probably about 8K to up to anywhere from about 15K to 20K. What you can kind of start to do there is you can subtract. I'd probably start with about -2 dB and see what it does. If that's too much, you just kind of blend it back into taste to where you remove the frequency and you keep the life and the natural sound of your vocals. So let's say your vocals sound nasally. Some people have used the term honky. Shout out to my white folk. But the problem frequency that you're going to be adjusting there is going to be anywhere from about 700 hertz up to probably about 1.5K. And you want to dip it, probably going to do a narrow band, probably about there. And then you're going to blend that thing back in to make your vocal sound natural again. So let's say your vocals sound sharp or it's piercing my ear, like the vocal in this scenario did. You're going to be focusing in on 2.5K to about 5K. Find it, pull it down, add it back to taste. So let's say your vocals sound a little bit too muddy. There's too much low end in my vocal. Gonna make a low shelf. You're gonna bring it to, I would probably bring it all the way up to about 500 hertz. Duck it down, exaggerate it. Maybe start at, 4 dB. If that's not doing it, bring it down even more. And then adjust it to where it tames that frequency, but your vocal still stays consistent. The more reps you get doing this, the better you're gonna get, the better you're gonna be able to hear things. So bam, that wraps it up. That is how you EQ your vocals the easy way. It don't get any more complex than that. Don't make it more complex than that. As you can tell, we just did some very basic tweaks. Breaking it down by this framework that we just taught, you are going to be well on your way to getting those radio ready vocals. And hey, if you're viewing this and you are brand new to Pro Tools, or you've actually, considered utilizing Pro Tools as your main recording software DAW, I just recently came out with a really, really cool tutorial, a 60-minute long training video down in the description, recording radio ready vocals in Pro Tools today. I'm gonna break down exactly how I create my sessions, walk you step by step. Literally, if you've got zero experience, by the end of these 60 minutes, I promise you, you're gonna be recording your radio ready vocals. And it includes templates. It also includes something that we broke down today, how to adjust, your stock Pro Tools plugins to get those radio ready vocals, all kinds of bonuses. This is something for you. Definitely check out that link down below. But outside of that, I hope this has taken all the confusion, all the chaos. I hope that this video is something that you can constantly come back to and understand that EQing vocals is ridiculously simple if you just follow these steps. But hey, that does it for this video. We'll catch you here soon. But until then, I'm checking out. Peace.